Let's start with why crate your dog. I think these are pretty self-explanatory. I won't spend a lot of time on this, but one is safety. A crate protects your dog, and then it also protects your house, right? So it keeps the dog safe, but it also keeps your house safe. I don't know what I'd do without a crate. I could not house train a puppy, especially when I was doing 1 and 2 puppies a year. If I didn't have a crate, it would have taken a lot longer to get those puppies house trained. Crates are amazing management tools, and we'll talk about management. If your dog is ever injured, and they're on crate rest, if your dog has never been in a crate before, now they're hurt and they're stressed because they're in a crate. So it's great for injury recovery. It's your dog's own room. I like to think of it, and I like to explain to people that it really is. This is your dog's room. This is their space where they can take their goodies. I found 4 different types of crates in general. You get your wire crate, your airline crate, your fabric or cloth crate, and then there's this furniture style of crate. I can quickly go through just the pros and cons. So this is an example of a wire crate. What I like about these wire crates, they are readily available. You can find them anywhere and everywhere. They fold flat. They are relatively inexpensive. They're really easy to set up and break down. A lot of dogs like that they can see all the way through them from every single wall, right? So it's completely see-through. Some dogs that's great for. We'll talk about this in a minute. For other dogs, that's not great. They don't need to see out. So depending on your dog, that's why I said depending on your dog might be, will depend on which crate your dog likes the best. So as you can see, they're wire crates. The air can pass through them really easily. I do like the ones that have 2 doors. So the example on the screen that crate has 2 doors, a front door and a side door. It's just gives you more flexibility as to how you want to use it. There is always a nice plastic tray at the bottom. You really can't see it because there's a crate pad on that one, but it's for ease of cleaning. You just pull that crate pan out and you can just hose that down or scrub that pan down. If peanut butter gets on it or the dog does go to the bathroom, and it's really just pull that tray out. It's really easy. Some cons. It's the one that looks the most like a cage, right? So it's less visually attractive. I listed in the pros that the dog can see completely through it. That can also be a con, right? If your dog is reactive to visual stimuli, this is not the best crate because they can see everything. If you back that crate up next to some drapes or your bed, and the dog can pull stuff into that crate. So the dog can pull drapes in, the dog can pull your sheets or your comforters in. If you put that crate next to something that's reachable, the dog can absolutely nibble through between the bars and pull stuff into the crate, which could be detrimental. All of our dogs go naked in the crate because the dog's collar or the tag, especially the tag, can get stuck in any of those wires, and then the dog panics and then they can choke and cut off their air supply. So all of our dogs go naked in any style of crate, but in this style in particular, this one is easier for dogs to break out of because they're lighter. If a dog has true separation anxiety, they can absolutely bend those bars with their teeth and with their paws. So it can be broken out of. And these usually require some sort of assembly. So that's on the downside of that. Okay, now we've got the airline crate. The pros of this, it's sturdy, right? I mean, you can see that's a sturdy crate there on the screen. There are fewer choices. So there's 1 door and it's only that door. That's the only door that it has. Dogs can't see out of it. So that can be a pro or it can be a con. So the dogs can't, it limits their visual, sort of the stimuli that they can see. It is much more secure than any of the other crates. That is really hard for a dog to break out of because really it's solid plastic and there's really nowhere for them to get purchase. I'm not going to say it's impossible because if there's a dog that has separation anxiety or separation distress, they can pretty much get out of anything. But it is harder to escape from, certainly than from the fabric crate. but also from the wire crate. I would say some cons for this. It's less attractive in that they don't come in a whole lot of pretty colors, right? You get gray, you get black, you get white, and it looks like just a plastic box. So it's not perfect. They are bulky, as you can see. If you want to transport this, you have to, I mean, unless you really want to break it all the way apart, it has to stay together. So it's big, it's bulky. The dog can get warmer in it because, as you can see, there are fewer holes in this, right? If your dog is claustrophobic, it's a con because this does feel a lot more enclosed. It looks a lot more enclosed for a dog. It is heavy. It is harder to clean than the wire crate because you have to put your body in there to clean it out, unless you want to take it apart. And which then, of course, it gets easier, but just doing that, just taking it apart makes it harder to clean. And there are some minor assembly requirements. Just as you can see, those screws, those little black things in the middle of the crate, those have to screw together. So some minor assembly. Now we've got the fabric crate. These things are super light. I love a fabric crate because it's very light. They're easy to transport. They fold flat. They're so easy to move around. They're also readily available. You can find those in lots of different colors. Usually there are 3 doors on it, which is also very nice. And the top of that crate, so if you look, see where the handles are, there's a zipper all the way around that top that also opens. So your dog can sit up straight and can look out of it, which I like for freedom. The cons of this, very easy to break out of. As I said, you can only imagine how quickly a dog could get out of there if they wanted to get out, just super, super quick. There's no tray in the bottom of this. So if your dog is not house trained, it's not a great crate for them because there's no tray. It's the whatever, whether it's water, vomit, pee or poop, you're going to have to scrub it. And it could potentially, even if there's water in there, your floor, it's waterproof-ish, but I wouldn't really trust it. Your floors underneath could get wet. It is the lowest assembly crate out there. You literally just have to pop it up. I pop it up and then lock it in place. Super easy. Those are great for dogs that aren't gonna chew out of a crate and who are already house trained. So they're great for that. Last but not least, we have furniture crates. As you can see, they're lovely. I think they're quite nice. Some of the pros, they blend in perfectly with your other furniture. I think they're visually attractive, and they are sturdy. They're wooden, they're quite nice. Some of the cons, they're not portable. Can't take that on vacation with you. They are not chew proof because they are wood. They are obviously harder to clean than any of the other style crates because they are a piece of furniture. They're not, I mean, this one shows a German Shepherd. You could fit a German Shepherd in this large one. I don't think you could ever find one that would fit like a Great Dane or a Borzoi or any of the larger dogs. I don't think you could find that. And obviously, you've got some serious assembly ahead of you if you choose this. So how to choose the right crate? Well, that depends on a couple of things. The size of your dog. I don't think you might be able to find a furniture crate for the teeny tiny dogs, but my guess is that any crate, like if you have a little tiny teacup Chihuahua, the crate's going to be too big for that dog. The dog could go to the bathroom in the crate and still sleep on the other side. You also could not use one of the furniture crates for, say, a giant breed like the Great Dane, Irish Wolfhound, that sort of thing. So size of the dog, I think, is important in what crate might be available to you. The size of your house or the room where the crate's going to be. Visual stimuli. So we talked about this, I alluded to this earlier. If your dog is reactive, and what I mean by reactive is like barks at, is agitated or excited by people going by on the sidewalk or deer in the yard or kids playing or at the sight of other dogs, the airline crate might be a better option if the crate has to be somewhere where the dog can see that visual stimuli. So you have to think about that as well. the dog's acceptance of the crate. So like I said, my dog Rogan, he can be in any of those crates that I showed you because he enjoys being in a crate. I can put him in a fabric crate and he won't try to escape out of it. So if you know that your dog would gladly escape from a crate, I would not, a fabric crate wouldn't be my first choice, obviously, and probably not one of the furniture crates either, just because of the wood. And then portability. If you know that you're going to be on the go a lot, I would say pick the crate that's going to allow you the most flexibility. For most people, it's the wire crate because you can flatten those down. They usually have a handle and it's a little heavier, but they're easy to move around. Basically, what you're looking for overall is that the crate is big enough for your dog to stand all the way up in, so your dog can stand straight up. I don't mean on hind legs, I mean on all fours. So your dog can stand up, head doesn't hit the top of the crate, and they can turn around without like sort of pretzeling themselves. So to measure for height, add 2 to 4 inches from the floor so that you can know about how tall they are when they're standing, or you can just measure when they're standing. But in general, you want a couple of inches so that they're not hitting their head on the crate, even if it's a fabric crate. So if you're training a puppy, you want to make sure that the crate isn't too big, that they can go to the bathroom in one end of the crate and then sleep in the other. That won't help with house training. But you could, a lot of crates come with panels, so you can make the crate smaller. So the dog only has access to half the crate. So when they're puppies, you can still use that big adult-sized crate, but you just sort of chop it in halves or thirds so that the puppy has less room.